If you've come across this video, I'm sure you're like me and have been contemplating, is it really worthwhile purchasing an Apple TV? One of the most viewed videos on my channel was how to use a smart television. And considering there's so many options out there and my unique use case scenario that you guys are going to find out about, it might actually be something similar that you have been experiencing too. So in this video, we're going to check out the Apple TV 4K, what it can do, some of the unique benefits, and find out, is it really worthwhile for you to invest your money and upgrade? And there's going to be some interesting stuff to find out about. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and let's get into it. Let's take a quick look at what the Apple TV looks like. It's a pretty small box with the glossy edges, nothing on the bottom. And around the back, we've got a power port, Ethernet and HDMI connection. The Ethernet is the difference between this model and the cheaper one, as well as the fact that it comes with 128 gig of storage and Matter connectivity or hub support if you need it. It's only 20 bucks extra, so I kind of recommend going for this one. Welcome to my living room. This is my main television. It's a 65-inch Samsung LCD panel. Unfortunately, it's not an OLED. The LG hasn't sponsored me just yet, but if anyone's listening, feel free to reach out. And before you guys ask, yes, behind my TV are a Govee LED T1 setup. That's that little camera that sits above the television there that basically reads the output of the colors on the screen and reflects them with the LEDs behind the TV. And for me, this is one of the most awesome little upgrades that I've done that really bring out the entertainment value of a television. So what you're watching now is actually the Apple TV's screensavers. These screensavers play when you're not using the TV, and when you're walking around the house and you're not watching content, it gives a nice ambience and obviously brings out the full quality of what the TV can produce. So let's just jump into the main menu of the Apple TV, and it's laid out relatively simply like most other smart televisions, where you have your applications listed here. And you can move these around however it would suit your primary needs. Now, I'll immediately show you one of the benefits of having an Apple TV, and it's with multitasking. So if we open up here Netflix, we can jump into one of the accounts, and you'll see that Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can actually double tap, and you can go into multitasking mode. And you can see here that I actually had YouTube open earlier, searching up my channel, and you can go straight back into YouTube. As you can see, that delay between switching applications is pretty much zero. It feels like a computer, it feels like an iPhone, it feels like an iPad, which a lot of inbuilt smart TVs just can't handle. The memory would wipe away what you were looking in the other app, or it would just crash, or you would have to restart it from the start, or it would take ages to load. And that's something for me which I really like. There's no delay, there's no responsive issues that you might occur. Now, if you jump out of this, you can go back here. As you can see, obviously, you can load up some other applications that maybe might not always be available on other platforms. The Samsung Smart TV, which is what I've been using this entire time, its interface works well. It does have the right applications and things that I need for basic use of what a television is for. But unfortunately, the way that it goes around switching between applications, going back and forward, making those changes, it's very slow. And it doesn't have that instant response of what you would get on an iPad or on an iPhone or on a computer. And I feel like these days that we really need it because it's not a huge amount of processing that's happening. We're just watching TV content or videos on YouTube. So for me, having an Apple television, it really improved my user experience 100 times over. So the Samsung remote that I've been using actually went faulty, and I thought it'd be great to be able to replace the Samsung's remote purely with the Apple television. And unfortunately, even though it's connected through HDMI CEC, I've only been able to gain the capacity to change the volume and turn the TV on and off, which in itself is enough, but it still required me to purchase a brand new Samsung remote just to be able to alter and change the pictures and quality of what's available on the television, which the remote doesn't handle. So if I turn the television off now and turn the TV back on, it's actually all done through the remote on the Apple television. It's not actually done through the thing. But do you guys now see on the bottom that the Samsung TV has its own smart TV interface laid over it? That automatically pops up and goes away, but I can't use the remote control from the Apple TV to control that, which for me is a little bit annoying and kind of a downside. One of the coolest things is the ability to use the remote control to use my voice and search rather than typing. YouTube, Mohammed Skaka. On your phone, it actually brings up an option here for the keyboard where you can type using this rather than using your voice. When you actually set up the TV the first time, you're actually presented with an ability to bring your iPhone up to the TV, and the HDMI connection on what the Apple TV is hooked up to, the Apple television will change the color balance in order to match what it believes is the right output based upon the ambience in the room and your TV, which I thought was a really cool feature. I don't know how much of a difference it made, but the ability to go through and really customize your settings to your liking is a really nice setup. The other difference that I found is this ability here to match content. So what it will do is it will shift the TV's color profile depending on what you're watching. So if you're on YouTube, it might display an SDR. If you jump over to a Netflix video with HDR, it will adjust itself automatically. I actually disabled it because I found it a little bit jarring, and I like the settings that I had on the TV originally. But if you really want to have that automatic adjustment based upon content without you having to worry about settings, I found this to be really, really awesome. One of the other differences is that you can actually use AirPlay if the television itself doesn't support it. And this one actually did, where I could AirPlay over content from my phone or from my Mac to the TV and use it as an external display wirelessly. It's pretty cool when you're working and you want to have a video call or a meeting that you're listening to on your big screen while you're sitting down on the couch. And it works really seamlessly. It does work actually better than the inbuilt AirPlay functionality on the TV. So to show you guys the Apple TV remote, it's this one-piece aluminium. It's got a little bit of weight in it, which I find nice. It feels solid. The remote control is pretty basic. You got your volume up and down. You've got your play and pause button, mute for the TV. This here is your back button. This is your multitasking or home button. So you double tap it to go into that multitasking mode. And you have this ability here to click anywhere on the remote control, or it's a swipe pad with up and down, left and right gestures that I would recommend you get used to using. And you can reduce the sensitivity or increase the sensitivity in the menu. I've got it actually to the least amount because I found that it would kind of double click over when I wanted to just click once. And then you've got the ability to use your voice by holding down the voice button, and it charges through USB-C. It also has an infrared receiver if you wanted to hook it up through infrared just to get the TV going, but it primarily operates over Bluetooth 90% of the time, hence why the Apple TV is in my cabinet rather than being exposed. Being an Apple television, you've got obviously the App Store, which has got a huge selection of applications. Pretty much anything that you'll ever need would be on here. Personally, I use it mainly for streaming, so the benefits of having games and arcade and stuff might not be really in my use case scenario, but for a lot of people, having that ability to do a bit more than just a normal smart TV. So do I think it was a worthwhile purchase picking up the Apple television? Well, personally for me, considering that I gained the benefit of having a much faster, fluid interface with up-to-date applications that allows me to switch between multiple different content and resume in a way that is just not possible on my normal Samsung television, that's enough. It's given me the ability to connect my home kit and the smart devices that are in my house in order to operate everything in a seamless environment. The third one is the fact that I can control the television using the remote control, as well as navigate the interface using a much better remote than what I'm used to. It didn't completely revolutionize the television control, but it is enough to meet those needs. So if you guys are interested in purchasing an Apple TV, I will leave a link in the description below. And me and Muzi, we're gonna go watch some content.